What's going on, guys? Ted Teskey here with the Recording Connection Audio Institute. Today I'm going to be going over a quick and brief tutorial on how to use the stock compressor limiter that comes with your Pro Tools 11 software. The first thing you're going to want to do is come to Inserts, go to Plugin, and go to your Dynamics section. When you go to Dynamics, you notice you have a couple of different options. For this tutorial, I want you guys to go to DYN3, Compressor/Limiter. And what I'm going to do is introduce you guys to a couple of the parameters within the interface here. So the first thing we have is a couple of meters over here to our left. This is going to allow for us to see the levels of our signals. So our in meter over here is going to allow for us to see the input of the signal, how heavy it's coming in. And then our output meter here, our out, is going to show the output of the signal. We'll also be able to have a gain reduction meter to see how much compression is actually happening, how much gain reduction is taking place. So this is definitely a good thing to look at to ensure that everything's running smoothly. Secondly, we have a couple of different knobs here. We have our gain knob. This pretty much is going to give us the capability of making up for the gain reduction that we lose during the threshold process. The threshold is what you're going to use to set a certain ceiling so that when the signal exceeds the threshold, the compressor is going to start working. So depending on where the threshold is set, is going to indicate to the compressor when to start functioning. So what you can do once the threshold is set is use the gain knob here to make up for the gain reduction that was lost during setting the threshold. So it's definitely good to use. I will play this verse that I pulled up from one of my own sessions here so you guys can hear how I actually use it. Next, we have attack, release, and ratio. Attack time is basically the milliseconds that it takes for the compressor to start working. So if you have a lower millisecond, like if it's set at 1 or 0, it's going to be a quick attack time. The compressor is going to act immediately when a signal exceeds the threshold. So depending on where that's set will depict how fast the compressor is actually functioning. And the release down here is going to allow for us to give the compressor an indication of when to let the signal drop back below the threshold. Okay, so it's going to allow for us to adjust how quick do we want that signal to be let go after it starts getting compressed. Our ratio, depending on where the ratio is set, for example, if we have a ratio of 2 to 2, basically what that means is for every 2 dB that a signal exceeds the threshold, there's going to be 2 dB of gain reduction happening with the compressor. The compressor is going to push the signal back down by 2 dB. So the higher the higher the ratio, the higher the signal is going to be pushed down or pushed up depending on how you have that set. So for this example, I would focus more just on using the gain and setting the threshold and getting used to how it sounds and starting to get a hold of your own technique and your own flow as far as using compression on vocals. So what I'll do is I'll put this compressor on bypass here. And what I'm going to do is play this vocal that I have looped here, and I'm going to let you guys hear it dry without any effects, and then I'm going to put the compressor on the vocal so you guys can hear the difference. And so here we go.
'Cause I see darker days, and I dream of such a place. Now I see.
So that's a single track. I pulled in one of these verses from my session so I could use it for the tutorial today. And if you notice, right before I stopped it, the vocals were peaking a little bit. They were a little bit too loud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bypass off of the compressor, and now it's going to indicate to our track that the compressor is set up on it. So the signal is going to run through this compressor before it plays back, and we're going to hear the compressor go to work. So when I play this, I'll adjust the threshold, and I'll put it in a couple different spots, and I'll apply some gain so you guys can hear what's going on. Okay, so here we go. Come back to the edit window, and I will play this loop for you guys again with the compressor on it. So here we go.
'Cause I see darker days, And I dream of such a place. Now I see light surrounds me. I'm finally free. All fears beneath.
And if you notice, when I take the threshold down, it takes the volume down. So what I'm doing is, the lower the threshold, the lower amount of volume that we're going to hear. We're not going to hear anything peaking. So what we can do is, if I set the threshold at a certain level, I can use the gain to make up for what was lost during that process. So once you toggle around with the gain and threshold, it's relatively simple to get a hold of. You might have to apply it to a couple of your own vocals or a couple instrument tracks to get a hold of it, but overall I like to use it on vocals. I think it really helps bring the vocals out and allows for them to sit better within the mix. So again, my name's Ted Teskey. I'm an audio engineer with the Recording Connection Audio Institute, and thanks a lot for tuning in on this short tutorial on how to use the stock compressor that comes with your Pro Tools bundle. You guys have a great day.